Recording in the studio.
Yes. Recording. Bow, 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 bow. We actually knew the song. we didn't fuck up which song we were talking about this time.
We got it.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're back. We're back with another 2 straws. Jess still sick.
I know.
Yo, you need some tussin, man. I keep telling you.
I drank all the tussin.
Did you?
I drank all the tussin.
Not enough.
I think I got a bit of the cocoa. I feel like
The what?
The COVID.
Oh.
Is that still a thing?
Do they call it the cocoa?
I don't know. I do.
She's in love with the cocoa.
I feel like
I
don't know if it's still. I realized what I said after I said it. I was like,
yeah, it could be that long one. Maybe I should put a mask on or something. But you're here. You're alive.
I'm here. I'm
you're
alive.
Not dying.
Almost. I mean,
Not
I
yet.
feel like I died a few times during training this week, but here I am.
Gosh. Yeah, the frog poison is keeping you alive.
It did. I did 2 sessions back to back, like a day or 2 apart. So I feel like that really, just got it all out.
It
there.
might be called poison for a reason.
Well, you gotta poison the poison.
Huh.
See it's like double negative equals a positive. That's my math. I'm terrible at math, by the way, so don't.
Yeah. So are the Aztecs. Or wait, who are they? Incas? Who does the frog poison? Who are the originators of it?
I mean, most of them do. Everybody has like their version.
All
they all have
indigenouses.
Yes, they all have medicine people.
Yeah.
Shamans.
I hear they're not great at math, but
they didn't need math.
No, they're good at math. They had those cool pyramids and everything. All that was math based. They had the calendar, the end of the world calendar. That was almost true.
That none of us listened to.
Yeah, the world almost ended. What was it, 1999 or something?
Yeah. I mean, it almost ended recently too. So I feel like.
Well, today, speaking of calendars, today is our special Father's Day episode.
Happy Father's Day to all you fathers.
Oh my gosh, dude. If there weren't so many fathers out there who were shit, we wouldn't have so many female MMA fighters.
Here are to the fathers that gave us enough issues to put us in the cage and not on the pole.
We would not have a strawweight division, that's for sure.
Cheers to you.
Hey.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Just enough.
Just a little bit of neglect.
Just to give us enough angst.
Yeah.
To want to punch people in the face for a living.
Especially men, which we get to do a lot of.
Yeah.
Which is very triggering for a lot of guys. Like, people who don't train, they think that it's wild that we can train with guys and actually, like, beat them up.
Yeah, I don't think they get it. They've never been in that situation before.
You've never been in, yeah. I think if you listen to a lot of people's kind of origin story, like a lot of guys who are getting into the UFC or whatever, they'll be like, yeah, one of the first sessions I had, I got my ass kicked by this, like, tiny black belt woman, and it showed me that I need to learn how to fight.
See, I feel like a lot of males are raised by their mothers and, know how to not retaliate against a woman who's beating them up. So thank you.
Which is why I celebrate Father's Day with my mom.
My mom got a call today too.
Oh, yay. You were pulling the weight for more than yourself. But yeah, today is Father's Day. There's a ton of fathers in the UFC, ton of fathers that are fighting right now. I think I'm always a little jealous of the fact that guys can just like pop babies out left and right and still have like a fight camp.
It didn't wreak havoc on their bodies.
No.
Their internal organs. They don't have to, wake up every hour for feeding time. They can still make training with almost a full night of sleep.
Yeah. I mean, we can be 2 weeks pregnant, and if we pee on that stick and it comes back positive, they'll be like, yeah, fight's off.
Like, whoa.
Wait.
Can I sign a waiver?
I mean, technically, it's not really a baby yet.
Yeah, loopholes, gray area.
Yeah, we need 10 weeks. That's what the doctor said, right? Oh, God. We're getting too political. Let's move on. The fights were great last night. Well, some of them were, and I was super butthurt. I don't know how you felt.
Why?
I was super butthurt about the main event.
How so? Because you didn't win your pick, or why?
That was your pick too.
I know.
But I was butthurt because of the way that it happened, but also the lead up. They were acting like Perez wasn't doing anything. Did you listen to the commentary?
I listened to the commentary. I also listened to all of, the behind the scenes videos and build up videos that the UFC was pushing out, and everybody's labeling this young guy, Taira, as the next UFC champion flyweight, which he's very, very talented. He's 24. He was very impressive in this outing. But I always feel a little bad for the other person. It's like, I know I have in my career, I have been brought in to be the loser.
Oh, yeah.
Against like the organization sweetheart or the hometown person or whatever have you. I've been, brought in as the person that's probably not going to win. And, sometimes I've had, quite a few upsets in my day.
Well, it's great when you ruin the narrative, but yeah.
Yeah. But I always kind of feel for the other person on the opposite side of that, because it's, it's challenging to prepare for a fight knowing that you're not the favorite, or knowing that people aren't even giving you a fucking chance.
No, for sure. I was at PFL this weekend, and you can see the craziest case of that with the British girl that they're pushing.
They are not shy about it at all.
No, it's like every commercial break. Hey, look at what this girl ate for breakfast. Next commercial break. Hey, this is her training for the next fight, and then training for the belt, even though we haven't had her fight beforehand happen yet. It's like very heavy-handed with that. And I know it must have been really hard for Chelsea Hackett. That's who she fought this time. It must have been really hard for her to walk into that.
It is. I mean, mentally, you have to be just really focused, really centered, and really intentional with what you're doing, with what your goal is. But I feel like even the most grounded person can get, kind of swayed by that kind of push that the organization gives.
Yeah. But with Perez, he did not look swayed at all.
No, he's a professional. He's a veteran.
Dude, he came in there with like the game plan set. He was going into Thingy's boxing range, getting past his straights, hitting him, landing combinations. And I felt like the commentators were like drunk because they didn't see it. It might have been the angle too, because whenever I hear really heavy-handed commentary on one side, I try not to jump to conspiracy, because I started commentating a little bit with Cage Warriors, and I know how things can like look a lot different in person than they look when you watch it back, and you're like, ew, why did I say that? But in this case, there was a lot of flowery language towards Taira, even though he was losing the round. He didn't really do much in that round. He was able to, I guess, keep Perez from really hurting him. He was able to stifle him with that plum, with the Muay Thai clinch, and stop him from getting any really bad offense out. But Perez was nailing him over and over again, getting past his like straights, like doing that same dip that he got, what's the name with, Nicolau. That same like dip punch that he that he ended up catching him with and dropping him in his last fight. So I'm like, ooh, this could be another upset, because I don't think he was supposed to win the last one too. And he just keeps getting these matchups where he's facing the next top guy, the next it guy, the next challenger, and he keeps showing up and performing really well. So this one, I was like, man, I think he's got his number. He was ducking out of the way of all the jump knees as well. Everything Taira was throwing at him that was really nasty was missing, not landing a mark. He didn't get his range yet. But then in that second round, he got that takedown, got on his back, and it was such a freak accident. Like, I'm kind of annoyed that people are saying he did it on purpose. Like, it's a TKO.
Yeah, I can understand where your frustration is. That it was kind of a freak injury. I think that what Alex Perez did, that was, it's the classic matchup when you're fighting someone who's a sniper in striking, who's very precise and who's so precise, you have to brawl them. And that's what he did. He was able to get in there and just like get really grimy and dirty with it. He wasn't worried about making it look pretty. And I thought that was really impressive against such a precise. I keep saying this fucking word. Such a precise striker.
Bisping. You put it in your head. Because it's like, yeah, it's great if you could throw a straight punch, but if the straight punches aren't landing, why are you giving the person credit? You know, it was just really frustrating for me as a striker to watch this guy throw 1-2, get the 1-2 slipped, and then he gets hit with a counter hook, and then people call that brawling versus the guy throwing a 1-2 that missed. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, that frustrates me too, watching that and not seeing Perez get the credit for the strikes that were landed, because they were tight hooks. They were planned attacks. He wasn't just going crazy in there. Like, it really felt like they had this mapped out, like, this is going to work. This attack is going to work. And they kept it tight enough that Taira wasn't able to counter him when he did start to flurry.
Mm-hmm. I can see it. I think that they did give Perez a little bit of credit as to his strategy.
Dom did, yeah.
Dominic is always very, very neutral and balanced, and he doesn't have a ton of bias, so I really appreciate his insight in it. So I think that was acknowledged, but it was very evident that Taira was a favorite, was somebody that they saw winning and see a clear path to, you know, potentially fighting for the belt and potentially winning. He's a very talented young man. I was impressed in the second round when he got the takedown, took his back. I loved the body triangle with the leg lace, and I loved how he was just kind of riding Perez in this weird way, trying to off balance him. It was very unorthodox.
Secret technique.
It was
only Taira knows. Taira will not tell you about that technique.
We saw it. we witnessed it firsthand. We can break it down. So I think he's young and talented, and I do think, you know, he has a high ceiling. I still think it's a little bit early, but if I do know the UFC, I know that they're going to give him some good matchups so that he can really showcase himself. I think that Perez was a really risky fight, but he's kind of like the Donald Cerrone of the flyweight division. You know, he's always a tough fight. He's always a gamer, kind of a keystone fighter. So I think that they thought that this would be a really tough fight for Taira, something that he could, you know, either be exposed by or, you know, showcase.
Mm-hmm. And I think he did expose a bunch in that first round.
Absolutely.
Even though the commentators didn't give him credit for it. Bisping. It's the only one I'm talking about.
I think he did a great job.
Yeah, no, he did a really great job. And it sucks that it ended with that injury, because he was still very much in that fight. You know, the kid got on his back, but he was doing a great job of defending. It really felt like just being unfamiliar with what he was doing led him to planting his foot in a way that just wasn't good for the direction that his body was going.
Yeah, he did this crazy twerk where he reached and grabbed the opposite side arm, and he just kind of twerked him and created this weird twerking motion. And I think that's what ended up twerking. I think that's what ended up messing up his knee. And I hope it's nothing too serious. With, you know, a long, lengthy recovery kind of thing. But it was just one of those freak kind of things that took him out of the fight, where normally I don't think that would have been a fight-ending move. That wouldn't have been a TKO scenario. I would see Perez, you know, defending and fighting and getting back up to his feet as he does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unless the secret technique is blowing out his training partner's knee.
Well,
tried, true, and tested. We're going to have to ask his training partners if that's something that he does on purpose.
Yeah, I wonder if he has a long line of people on the disabled list in his gym.
Because there's like people who they'll do certain moves and they'll do them in a way where it hurts people. And it's so consistent that it almost seems like it's on purpose. Like in the training room. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
like that trip takedown, a lot of people do, like the double leg with the trip. Sometimes if you get it just right, you land on the person's knee, you hyperextend it. There's moves like that where some people are just really good at landing on it in a way that hurt the trained fighters.
Yeah, I personally love the lazy man double. I like to kind of cartwheel over, so I'm avoiding that knee situation. There's also you know, some positions from single leg, which I like to do. They're more judo-y, jiu-jitsu takedowns, and I don't ever do those in training. I look, I acknowledge, I see it, but it's not something that I'm going to do to a training partner because it could be potentially, you know, devastating injury, and I don't want to do that to my training partners. It's really important to take care of your training partners. Yeah. I hate seeing fights end in injury and being called a TKO. It's really frustrating. It's really heartbreaking. I don't think it's a TKO, even though
your butt hurt too. Jess's butt also hurts.
It's a little sore. But yeah, it's one of those things that I feel like there should be another term for it.
Yeah. Unintentional injury stoppage. I don't know.
I know it doesn't roll off the tongue as well.
It's kind of like a doctor stoppage. Like the person didn't intentionally injure the thing that got injured, but the fighter can't continue because of something they did. So it's kind of like a doctor stoppage. Like when you see a cut that wasn't really that devastating, but the doctor gets in and stops it, even though the person could continue to fight and defend themselves. I feel like that would be a fair thing, but then it's all semantics, you know, like it's hard to really think. I feel like it was kind of a submission. I feel like a technical submission would make more sense. Like a lot of times when someone doesn't tap, but they scream out in pain and the ref stops it, it's a technical submission. So I feel like that would make more sense than a TKO.
I like doctor stoppage. Yeah. I think that, you know, raises eyebrows and questions a little bit more
like,
than
what happened?
Exactly.
Let me investigate.
Exactly. Rather than just scrolling down and you see win, loss.
Yeah, Alex Perez sucks. Look, he lost. You got knocked out by that kid. Yeah, and it feels like they're trying to like keep building on this story. Like, oh, this kid's a knockout artist.
I hear what you're saying. It plays to his future. It plays to
it'll all come out in the wash eventually. We'll see just how good he is. But right now, I'm very skeptical. But what did you think about his post-fight speech? I was trying to figure out what he said right here.
He said, "Line them up."
Is that what it? Wait,
everybody in the division, line them up in front of me.
Hold up, I got the audio for you, and you tell me what he said.
He's very excited.
What did that sound like?
I don't know. It sounded like excitement.
I'm happy. Me.
I'm not tracking. Sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not tracking.
Yeah, he was amped, but I feel like he said some Mike Perry stuff right there. You don't hear it?
I don't hear it. Ah. What am I supposed to hear?
He's happy, nigga.
Oh, I can't say that.
But you heard it.
Well, now I did.
You heard it.
Now, no, I didn't hear that before.
He was very happy.
He was very excited. He just had his first main event victory.
Hey, as long as he doesn't use a hard R, I'm okay with it. I really want to know what he actually said. I know he didn't say that, but I know he was trying to say something in English.
I didn't know if he was speaking English or not.
Yeah, that was English. I'm happy. Okay. And Michael Bisping just goes, "Yes, you seem very happy."
Good for him. I mean, that's a huge moment, you know.
No, it is. It is. I'm sure he was stoked after that. Like when you get a win, you don't care how it happens. You're not overthinking it, especially when you're a young kid like that, undefeated, getting like a big test, big main event spot. So yeah, I know he was stoked. But yeah, I'm still a little butthurt for Perez because I know how hard it looked like he worked for this fight, for the comeback, just having hard fight after hard fight, showing up for this one, doing really well when he had, what was his name, Mokaev, when he first came back and getting that knockout, and now he has this freak injury that might take him out even longer. Like that really makes me upset. But
it is what it is.
Yeah, not everyone can be happy, nigga.
No, not all of us can.
Not everyone can. Aside from the main event, or that fight card, it kind of felt like it was thrown together, but there was a lot of news outside of, the actual fight card that was happening this week.
Yeah, there was a lot. Do you want to dive into that? Do you want to take a break from the Apex fights?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people took a break from those fights.
There were some good fights.
There were some good
fights. You know what? As I was watching, I was taking some notes. I'm like, oh, I really like how this person did that. Oh, I really like this. I really like this defensively, offensively. There were some, I took a lot of good notes.
Yeah. Whenever I have a fight card where I don't really recognize a lot of names, some names stand out to me. It's like when Johnny Walker first came onto the scene and we're like, oh my God, his name is Johnny Walker. How funny is that? Cheers. Or like Rob Fine. All I could do is make punctuation jokes. But a couple names stood out to me. Like you had Fugget.
Yep.
Even though he's been around for a while, but whenever I see him on the card, I'm like, fuck it.
Yeah.
Fuck it, put him on. I feel like this card was kind of put together like that. Like,
fuck it.
Yeah. Shelby and Mick were just in the room like, fuck it. Put them all together. Let's get these guys a fight. They haven't fought in a while. And then Josephine Knutson. Her nickname should be Your Chin. Josephine. Well, I guess you can't put the thing at the end, but you could say Josephine Knutson, Your Chin.
That works.
Yeah, you could do last.
You can do it first, middle, last. You can do whatever you want. It is your nickname.
Okay, yeah.
Say it how you want it.
Yeah, I like that. Josephine. Think of that for your next fight.
Don't listen to her. She's setting you up.
Yeah, but there was some crazy news outside of it. We had Conor pulling out. They finally admitted it. They had been acting like it wasn't happening.
Why else would a press conference get canceled? Stop it.
He pulled out. He couldn't get on the flight because he was in surgery.
He has a private jet. Stop it. He could get anywhere you want faster than most of us.
He didn't want that swelling in his knee to happen when he hit altitude.
Well, it's still undisclosed, but you thinking it's a big bad one?
I don't know, because it seemed like they had it under control. Like it seemed like there was a scare, and then people are like, "Oh, don't worry, Conor's showing up. Everything's a-okay," and then you get the announcement that they're not doing it. And, you had certain media sites like Hawani was reporting that there were fillers out, then the fillers stopped, and then they started again. So it feels like negotiation tactics.
Well, you got to people are always wanting to break news. So you know that there was no news being leaked. So I think like it was very hush-hush. Nobody wanted to say anything because either nobody knew something or they knew it was going to be really bad.
Yeah. Well, you don't want to be the person, unless you're Brazilian media, you don't want to be the person that breaks the news before the UFC wants you to, because that gets you kind of nixed from a lot of opportunities that you can go to. Like you'll get on the blacklist. So a lot of people were not breaking the news, but saying what was happening. Like fighters were reporting that they were getting hit up, and we've been there before. That happens before a fight is announced that like it's been canceled. They'll send out fillers and ask fighters like, hey, would you be able to fill in on a day's notice, on a week's notice, blah 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 blah. So I think that was happening, and those fighters, either the fighters or their managers, were reporting to media like, hey, yeah, this is actually going down. Like we think Conor is out. So when it finally happened, everyone's just like, yeah, anyway. And I think they just wanted to wait until they had replacements set up, like good replacements that were going to not take away from the ticket sales, not get everyone to cancel their flights and hotels and stuff and still come to the fights. And I think they did as good as they could, like obviously Conor McGregor is the biggest star in the UFC, even now being super inactive, but they filled the gap with a lot of the biggest stars in the UFC, which are... Oh, you want me to keep talking? All right. I felt like I was talking too much. Which are...
No, you were going on. No, you got...
Which are Jiri Prochaska, Alex Pereira. He's going to be defending his belt against Jiri. which, you know, it is what it is. I don't think he has much to prove in that matchup, but short notice, this could be good for Jerry. This could be a way for him to like come in with a sneaker plan, do something crazy. Then you have Brian Ortega popping in. He's going to fight Diego Lopez. Ortega is one of the UFC heartthrobs, and then Diego Lopez is like young,
he is a
hungry
beast.
monster. Like this is one of those kids coming up that I'll get behind because he's already had those tough fights, and he's just been showing up every time, destroying people. And then you have Anthony Smith coming through. He's going to fight Carlos Ulberg, who's another person who hasn't really been tested yet. And Anthony Smith is a hype train wrecker. He is. Fucks up every plan that the UFC has. Like, you got to put Anthony Smith against another veteran, otherwise he's going to fuck up your whole like build up for a fighter.
I really like how Anthony Smith has just kind of resurged. He was kind of like in a lull for a little bit,
and he's done it before too.
He has.
Yeah.
He's had a bit of an ebbs and flow in his fight career, as you know, many people do. It's really hard fighting at the highest level, so stuff happens. But I was really impressed how he shut down the newcomer his last fight, and I love that he's so willing and able to step up on such a short notice. It's really bumming me out about Jamal Hill having to pull out of a fight, even though, because he was so excited to get back in there, and, you know, just get back to work, and to have, you know, another big injury as this is just, you know, I mean, it's par for the course, but it's also just really frustrating. So wish him a very speedy recovery.
Yeah, same. I wasn't super mad about it though, just because I feel like he came back so soon to save a card.
That's hard after a big knockout too.
Yeah, but like before that, when he fought Pereira, this was relatively short notice since his injury. Like, he had a really nasty injury, and he got back to training a little sooner than he wanted to. And after getting knocked out like that, he's jumping right back like a few months afterwards. And I really feel like it takes a long time for your brain to heal. It was a nasty knockout, you know, and I think against someone like Ulberg too, if anything, you're giving a young, fresh, hungry guy a better chance of knocking you out if you just got knocked out.
Sure. It's unfortunate that it is an injury. However, it's one of those situations where I think people can find the silver lining in these kind of situations, like everything happens for me, that kind of mentality. So I understand what you're saying, because having such a big, devastating knockout can make you more prone to having another one. We've seen it before time and time again, especially in those big weight classes where, you know, people have one punch knockouts. It's really important to protect yourself and let your body heal, let your brain heal. Yeah. So I do think that, you know, his spirit guides had his back.
Yeah, look at Volkanovski. You know, he
prime example.
Got knocked out by a big old guy, then went back and fought Topuria and got knocked out again. And this is something that hadn't happened to him before. You know, so it's like getting that knockout button touch can definitely just rattle your brain and make it a lot easier for it to happen over and over again if you don't give yourself the proper time to heal. Because it's not just the fight where you're taking brain damage. You're taking brain damage every day in camp, when you're running, when you're on the treadmill, when you're hitting pads. Like, all that is shaking your brain up and not letting it get back to where it can handle a little shake every now and then. So getting back to the normal routine, getting back to fight camp too soon can definitely be detrimental to your concussions.
No, it absolutely. Sorry, I'm watching your dog chew on
eating
his
his foot.
It was adorable.
Oh,
please don't stop.
His little allergies are getting him. So yeah, I'm like happy, sad about the Jamal Hill match.
Sure, same.
I feel like Anthony Smith is probably in better shape to take those punches and kicks right now, and he's definitely gonna go in there with the game plan to grapple. You know,
why wouldn't you?
Why wouldn't you? He can stand with everyone, but he does better on the ground. Like, he has that like nasty advantage on the ground against someone who's a little more green, who hasn't felt, someone who's super slick down there. And he has a wealth of knowledge too. I feel like knowledge does you better in grappling than it does in striking, because sometimes you overthink in the striking moments. And when you get on top of someone and you know more than them, a lot of times it's easier to just impose your will, even if you're not the strongest, the fastest, the most athletic.
It's easier to control the pace of the fight.
Yeah.
When you have a little bit more ground knowledge. I absolutely agree. And especially in those weight classes, like we were just saying, when people have, one punch knockout, which Olberg has an amazing check hook and he's very precise with it. That just, you don't want to give that person the opportunity to capitalize on what they're good at. You want to take them out of their game, impose your will, and take the fight into where you have more dominance, which is on the ground for him. So I'm going to make a submission prediction already.
Oh, wow.
I know.
Jumping the gun.
I know.
Wow. Well, hold up. We still got another fight announcement that happened. The guy who we did the pick on that we didn't really know anything about, but you so cleverly picked him because he had no mustache. He was supposed to fight Tricoli, and I picked him because he had a fun name to say. And poor Tricoli doesn't have a fight anymore because Alekserov is now fighting Robert Whittaker.
Crazy.
In friggin' Saudi Arabia, right?
Crazy. That card, I swear.
Chimaev is out. That was another one. Fucking poor Dana was in the ICU. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Sean Shelby and Mick are holding his hands like, it's okay, Dana. We got this. Don't worry. We got this, Dana. You're fucking better. But yeah, Chimaev is out too, but Alekserov got the call up to go fight in Saudi Arabia. So that's a pretty big bump for him.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's huge. It's a huge opportunity that you absolutely cannot turn down, even if it against Bobby Knuckles.
Yeah, you're going to take that. And Alekserov has no mustache, like we said, so definitely going to be going in there with a game plan to take him down, shut him down on the ground, make sure you can't throw them crazy kicks and punches and, good karate stomps to the knee that he likes to throw. It's going to be a fun, you always get these stylistic matchups when you get the offs. And it's going to be fun seeing what Whittaker does with this switch up of opponents. Apparently he didn't know who he was before he got the call. He was like, whatever. Watch some tape. Like, all right, yeah, let's do it. And that's kind of the attitude you have to have when you're in his like boat, when you've fought the best, you're right up there in the top 5, but you need to do something ridiculous in order to get back in that title shot mode. In order to do that, he has to fight the young, hungry people, the guys who are dangerous that nobody knows. And then once you get a couple of those wins back, people are like, yeah, he's still one of the best in the weight class. So let's see him fight for the title again.
Well, he may not have the belt, but he is a champion. He has that championship heart, mindset, and he's already been competing against the best of the best. So I feel like, whatever this person throws at him, he'll be prepared for. And especially in camp training for Chimaev, that's a tall order right there. That's a really tough fight. I'm sure he was already working on his defenses.
Yeah, it's the same game plan, pretty much.
Pretty much.
Maybe less striking. I don't know. I haven't watched tape, but Chimaev has like some really nasty striking. So if anything, maybe it's a downgrade of opponent. Maybe it's still just as dangerous, but he has a little more tricks that he can pull off against this guy that he wasn't really thinking about with Chimaev.
Potential. I mean, anything can happen in an MMA fight, and anything can happen, stylistically. We don't know what he's going to come in with. And the commentary desk was talking a lot about, there's not a ton of footage on him, blah, blah, blah. But again, Mr. Whittaker has been facing the top of the top for a very long time. And I'm sure that he can, even with limited footage and limited knowledge of the person, I'm sure that he'll be prepared.
Yeah, if anything, it'll make him more in the moment and kind of you know, kind of working with what he sees and not trying to over prepare. It might be a breath of fresh air to fight someone new and where you don't have much to go off of, but you just got to go in there knowing, hey, I'm the motherfucking best. So that'll be a fun one too. We get to watch that next week. And yeah, there were a lot of more fun fights on the card too that we can talk about now that we're done with all the friggin' announcements. But yeah, that was pretty crazy, all the like switching around.
I feel like Chimaev is just anytime he's on a card, there's just going to be this crazy switch up. Like you remember when he was supposed to fight Nate Diaz, and then all of a sudden he fought oh my God, Holland.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the whole mix up. He's just it's the Chimaev curse.
He's just, I don't know what he's doing. What did they ever say what happened? Did
With
he get
this
injured?
one?
Yeah.
No, apparently he got sick. Apparently he is you know, deathly ill. I don't know if he's deathly ill, but he's very ill and he had to pull out of this fight. And this is the second time he's had to pull out of a fight because of severe health issues. And this is the second time that he has been quoted as contemplating retirement. The first time he pulled out, he was supposed to fight somebody from, I think he was supposed to fight somebody. No, he fought somebody from China. He was supposed to fight someone and he had COVID. Yeah. And they kept telling him, hey, chill, like this will pass. You'll get back in shape, because he was ready to retire back then. And now again, he's kind of having the same experience, unfortunately. It's hard. A fighter not being healthy enough to train, to compete, I understand that that's very scary, but we can't, you know, react or respond on emotion just yet.
It's a Khabib curse, because Khabib had that same problem where he couldn't get to a fight week that often. And all these people were like wanting to fight him, couldn't make it to the fight week. Eventually he got the title, but like he didn't really have to fight that often compared to how long he was in the UFC because of that. So, you know, Chimaev is kind of in the same boat. He's getting fights canceled, getting things switched around. People are still kind of doubtful of how good he is because he just doesn't show up as often as the people who are in the top. So it's kind of, I always feel like it's a little unfair too when one fighter gets this
kind of jump in the line, if you will.
Yeah,
or they get a placeholder.
They get a big
placeholder. I'll be right back. I'm going to run to the restroom.
Yeah. Meanwhile, everyone else is fighting their heart out. It's like the person who takes a break during sparring and then 3 rounds later, hey, no sweat on them.
Hey, you ready to go?
Everyone's dying, laying down on the floor. That's what he's doing with his placeholder right now. So, yeah, good term. But, yeah, everyone kind of showed up. They were able to pull all these fighters out of the woodwork to save the shows, and I think they did a good job. I wonder how butthurt word of the day, how butthurt the Conor fans are going to be. But I think the actual MMA fans who aren't casuals are going to appreciate this card.
I think so. I mean, as you were saying, he's the biggest UFC star that is not even fighting anymore, but he's, you know, he's a household name. He's, you know, entertaining. He's, you know, somebody that you'll always show up to see, win or lose, whether you know, love him or hate him. So I understand how people would be upset because it's been so intense. I mean, we've been promoting this fight against Chandler for what, 2 years, did we say? Forever. It's been promoted for a really long time. So it's just so anticlimactic. It's very frustrating. I understand people want to see him fight.
How many Proper 12s, bottles of Proper 12 you think he downed this weekend?
No more than he was downing during camp.
Damn it, Conor. Yeah. So the co-main was Silva de Andrade versus light-skinned Wilson Hayes. Yeah, light-skinned Wilson Hayes is his actual name. Yes, Miles Johns. And that got bumped up because we lost our Alekserov co-main. I thought it was an interesting fight. But the most interesting part about it was that I picked light-skinned Wilson Hayes. So it looks like I won again.
Oh.
Wow. What are we gonna make you do this time?
I don't know. We didn't talk about it ahead of time.
We'll figure it out on the break.
John's looked really good. I was really impressed by his power, by his footwork, by just his assertiveness in all of his positions and controlling the range. However, I feel like he was falling into this thing where he knows the power he has, so he wasn't setting his stuff up. You know, he was throwing really big shots, which, you know, we're landing and connecting, but it's really hard to, you know, put somebody away like Silva. I mean, he was close. It seemingly close a couple of times. He caught him really good, and Silva ate the shots. It was just kind of, I was just noticing how the power that he had, he was relying on too much instead of mixing it up more.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, whenever you have that body type, that's kind of what I expect from someone. Sure. That like explosive kind of compact little body type. That's what I say. He looks like a Wilson Hayes. It's like you're just exploding to every punch, exploding into every kick. I thought he did a good job of just kind of walking him down, trying to stay out of harm's way when Silva de Andrade would come forward and throw his combinations. But like, he got a little predictable with the circling, and every time he circled, Silva de Andrade would throw that like big wheel kick, and almost got him in the third round. Like I was like, ooh, I bet that was scary for your corner. I bet they were like, you won the fight, and then you let that shit happen because he kept circling in the same direction. And that kick is a wild one because you'll kind of feel like you're out of range because you're going this way, and then the person literally turns around, and then their leg becomes twice as long when it hits you in the face.
And there's so much momentum and torque on it.
Yeah, because they're basically turning around, like turn around, and then that heel smacks you, and it doesn't matter where it hits you. Your hand can be up. It can hit you on the top of the head. Either way, it fucks you up. So he was like kind of wobbly for a while. He did a good job of just circling and staying safe when that happened. But I was like, oh man, he might be able to drop him here. And I felt bad laughing. But when they had their little mock Max Holloway moment in the middle of the cage,
I was like, don't do that.
It's just, so how influential is Max Holloway? Because I can't count on my hand how many times I've seen someone point to the ground and do that at the end of a fight. Like it's happened so much.
He's a trendsetter.
It's happened so much. It's more popular. That's more popular than the calf kick. You know, like it just like exploded out of nowhere. And yeah, it reminded me of when you see the kids sparring because they're so little.
There was a lot of whiffing in that comment, in that exchange.
They did that, and then they missed a lot of the punches. It was really cute.
It was cute. I'll tell them you said that.
It was cute. It was cute. He's gonna will kick me for that, like fucking heel to the eyeball. But I thought it was cute. It's just crazy to me how influential that fight was. The fact that everyone sits there and they do that now. They point at the ground and they do that. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like that was kind of risky for Miles Johns to engage in that when he was already up.
No, you're winning. And don't do that.
He just got kicked in the head. Like that was pretty risky for him. But good on that guy. I think he has a solid style, and he's gonna give a lot of people problems. But yeah, like you said, you gotta be able to mix it up more. Gotta be able to keep him guessing so you can land those power shots more often. And it was a good fight to show him the risk of not mixing up more, from exploding, doing your combo, and then becoming a little predictable on the retreat, because you can give your opponent that you were handling pretty soundly a chance to get back in that fight.
Yeah, there were so many moments of just separation and kind of, at kicking range.
Yeah.
That allowed for Silva to be able to throw those kicks. And they were naked. Like nothing was set up. Mm-hmm. Sorry, baby. Nothing was set up with those kicks, that they were just thrown because there was a lull in the action. So if he had just been feinting, putting his punches out, just doing something to keep Silva distracted for those big shots. I think he could have ended up, getting a TKO, being the first person to put Silva out.
Yeah.
But instead he gave Silva, opportunities, to play his game, opportunities to potentially, end the night early.
Hey, one thing, Silva is over 35, and not once did they call him old. Wow.
Good job, guys. Good job, guys.
You guys, you're really doing something. They were saving up their energy so they can talk up everything that Taira wasn't doing in the next fight. But at least they was letting him fight without reminding everyone that he's over 35. Oh my God. Shoot him. Goodness. Shoot him. Take him out to the pasture. The Cuamba versus Almeida fight was pretty interesting one. I was so mad when they called Almeida a striking black belt.
Well, it's the Kings.
Until he dropped the guy, which was like
Twice
2 seconds into the first round. I was like, black belt is striking my okay. Well,
actually, yes.
Now you get a stripe.
So in Kings MMA and a lot of like the Brazilian Muay Thai gyms, they do belt rankings for their athletes. So that's where that comes from. But it always makes my ears perk up just a little bit. I'm like,
It's like, are you a boxing black belt? Are you a wrestling black belt?
Yes.
No, we don't call it that.
Some disciplines don't need a belt system.
Yeah, you just get in there and fuck people up, and then you're like, yeah.
But then it's like participation points. Like it feels good to know where you're at. So I understand it's a morale booster. It gives people a goal. I understand, theoretically. I just
It's just weird to say as a pro fighter that you're a black belt in this when it's like, you're fighting people.
I know you punch kick people.
Proficiently. You're at the level where, you either have to be or you're not going to say you're not. Like imagine going to there, I'm a striking yellow belt.
I'm a blue belt in striking.
Yeah, no, you're not going to say that. You're not going to just get in there and do your thing. It's not a thing. But yeah, I understand that some schools are like that. It's just funny to have that in your bio to me.
Is it in his bio?
It was the commentator said it.
Oh,
so
I thought he had it on Instagram.
Oh, maybe. I haven't checked. I haven't creeped on him yet.
That's cute.
But like I wasn't mad for that long because he strikes like a striking black belt.
Dude looked like a welterweight in there.
Yeah, he was huge.
So big at featherweight. But hats off to Cuamba for toughing through.
Whamba
was
he gets knocked down,
but
he gets up again. He's never gonna keep him down. Yeah, he was a gamer the whole time. Got dropped, popped back up, got dropped again, popped back up, and then he went and won the last round. Like I was really impressed with.
I was like, why didn't you do that in the first two?
I know.
I'm like, you could have done that the whole time. I didn't even know you were grappling.
I know. We didn't know you were good at that.
Why?
Why did you say that you were a grappling black belt?
Dewey Cooper, why didn't you tell him to do that earlier?
Sometimes you just don't believe in it until you get it, and then it's too late. Like, well, next fight, I'll try that sooner.
I was just like, what? Yeah.
Out of nowhere. Yeah, no, that was a good fight. I thought that one might have gotten fight of the night, too. It was just a lot of back and forth, but it wasn't as crazy as Hiestand. Is that how you say it?
Hiestand?
Hiestand and Armfield. Like, it wasn't as crazy as that fight.
A fun fight.
That was
I don't know why that didn't get fight of the night.
It got performance, but I do feel bad because...
But it takes two, because Armstead was... I mean, he almost submitted him in the first round. Armfield.
Yeah, Armfield.
I just combined it.
Armfield.
I made them
you made them
a power couple.
Yeah, celebrity couple. I'd watch you fight any day. Armstead fight coming at you.
I thought it was such a fun fight. It was so technical. They both had such great offense and defense, the both of them. Neither one of them were out in that fight. I mean, until it was over. But I just thought it was such a great grappling matchup. And the fortitude of Hiestand was just really impressive. I learned a lot in that fight.
You mean hind arm?
Yes.
No, I don't. I'm
forever linked together.
Dude, I'm learning these guys' names for the first time. So it's, not surprising that you do that. Even in the first round, I thought that Hiestand was the one who had Armfield in an armbar. And then I heard the commentary say he was just in a submission. Now he's on top and in his own submission. And I'm like, oh, wait, that was a different guy? Like, it was such a tumbleweed of, like, grappling that I just assumed that the guy who had the submission locked in went to the next submission. That was a really crazy moment, that armbar to the guillotine to all this other crazy shit happening. Yeah, it was a really fun fight. I enjoyed that immensely. Yeah. I thought it was funny how he kind of like when the guy would get on his back, he tried to flop backwards.
Yeah,
because it worked the first time, but
you can't go to the well with that one every time. It's usually like it works well once with those kind of
like the stand up rear naked, like like they're standing, you get on the back.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it if it didn't work the first time, most likely your opponent is going to be ready to counter it and, capitalize off of it the next time you go for it. It's one of those kind of sporadic moves. You just like throw in there, see if it sticks. If it doesn't, you got to abandon it.
Yeah. At the same time, though, that would have saved Perez's knee if he had flopped when the guy started doing the pole dance.
It was a bit pole-esque. No, I know.
Yeah, maybe he was doing pole class. Maybe that's the secret technique. That's why he didn't want to tell us. He doesn't want other fighters going to pole dance class.
You know how much, you and I both know Taira. How much strength it takes to climb that pole, to use your legs and your whole body to like grip it.
That was called, she called that something. I forget what it was, but that was when we lean over. That one?
Yeah, but then our leg goes up.
Yeah, but it's the same thing that he was doing on that far leg.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we were doing on the pole with our thighs. Mm-hmm. Strippers would make great grapplers.
They would. They're strong as shit.
Yeah. Demopoulus. But that's a Demopoulus.
Point proven.
Oh, my God. Did you see the guy try to do the Demopoulus?
Yes.
On his post fight. So I was pretty he didn't get a win bonus, did he?
No, not to my knowledge.
I feel like he should have, because he was not supposed to win that fight.
No, that was for Jekka.
Yeah, he was not supposed to win that fight. He had gotten knocked out his first 2 UFC fights, and this was his third, and Jekka knocks people out. Like, that's what he does.
Yeah, and it was his, I'm pretty sure it was his first time at featherweight. He fought Jubilee. Armfield Jubilee, the first ever Indian national
not Tuba
fighter
or whatever her name.
Tuba.
Her name was like Tuba something. Toma. It was something like that. It starts with T. That. Yeah, but not her. It was him, Jubilee.
Yes.
Not Tomar. Puja. Not Puja Tomar. I put it together like you did. I put Puja and Tamar together, and I came up with Tuba. The name was in my brain somewhere, and that's what came out. But Jubilee is the actual first Indian UFC fighter to win a fight. Get your shit straight, MMA media. 2 straws with the exposés. So that was Jekka's last fight. And then he moved up?
And they moved down.
Oh, he moved down. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so this was supposed to be, I feel like it was supposed to be a matchup where he could really showcase. He got a little cheeky in the beginning and did like the glove touch, strike right off of it, which was, so maybe got some instant karma right there. I never liked those. I understand it. I understand when somebody's excited, they want to, get the party started and stuff. But I also do like sportsmanship.
Yeah, don't touch gloves. And then he even said that, Westin Wilson said that afterwards. He was like, yeah, they always tell me that they always get mad at me for not touching gloves. So I did it, and I'm never doing it again.
No, I've seen it multiple. I've cornered people multiple times, and it's happened. And it always makes me mad. It always makes me want to fight their corners.
Yeah, I don't, and I think a lot of times the coaches are kind of like, when your fighter does that. Like, I don't think any coach actually teaches that.
No,
unless you're like, from like Cobra Kai or some shit. But
the leg,
yeah. Do all the dirty things.
Do all the dirty things.
But yeah, I think usually when a corner or when a fighter does that, everyone's just like, "Fuck that guy."
Yeah, I hope they have a nice talking to in the.
I never tap gloves. I just avoid. I don't want. I'm like, I'm not your friend. We're just gonna do it at the end, not doing it beforehand.
I'm pretty sure I've only done it once, and I did it begrudgingly because it was Karolina. Because she's adorable. And I'm like, oh.
Okay. At least he still ripped her arm off.
I did. I did, and I'll do it again.
Oh, man. She was talking mad shit to you beforehand. I would not have touched her glove.
She was super shady.
I would not
But I was like, you know
glove.
what? After I beat you up, that'll be my way of getting back at you for all of the shit the shady stuff you were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like so low key too. I'm like, you are not as nice as I thought you were. I really liked you.
She mean girled you.
She did.
She mean girled you.
I can't believe that.
She went, nice shirt. Did you get that at the thrift store?
Bitch. Wow.
Oh, your grappling is so good. Are you sure you're a black belt? Yeah, bitch, watch this. But no, what did she actually say to you? For the people who haven't heard the story.
She said, Ioana says hello. I'm like, girl, stop it. Tell her I said hi, too. Tell her that I'll come see her soon.
You should have taken that arm home and sent it to her.
You know what? I was going to say something super shady to her afterwards, but I didn't because I felt like, I just...
Well, you said enough with your fighting, but what were you going to say? What fight? Come on. You didn't actually say it.
I don't know. In the moment, I was going to be super cunty, but...
You got to tell me after.
Ooh,
maybe we'll make that exclusive member content. Find out what Jess was going to say to Karolina before she had a conscience. Yeah, so good for him. Kind of the same thing happened with Jekka that happened with Kevin Holland's opponent the last couple of weeks ago. He was out of the armbar, and he was like, I'm gonna punch this guy. And went right back in.
No, you just... Listen, I understand you thought the fight was almost over. You just wanted to put a stamp on it. You wanted to get out there early. You wanted to start the party, all that stuff. You want to get some like food and drinks in you. I get it. You have to really just be aware of where your limbs are in a fight when you're going against a black belt, especially.
It's when someone can break your arm against anyone. If you're in that position where their legs are around your arm and your elbow is right outside of the danger zone, don't go back in. Like,
don't give them an opportunity to like suck you back in. What was it? Suction crotch.
Suction crotch.
Suction crotch.
Suck that thing right up like a spaghetti noodle. People don't realize the danger, especially when they don't feel the torque yet. And I think if you haven't been in that position before, the red flags don't go off. Mm-hmm. You don't get the like, get out of there that you do when you have the amount of mat time that gives you those like awareness things. And I think that's a big thing that a lot of the road to the UFC guys are missing, especially from like Indonesia and Indian stuff. They don't have that same like worldly look at grappling that we have somewhere like in California, where you get people from every part of the world, all the best people from different countries and everything. And you find out those danger zones real quick. So they're kind of learning on the job right now. I feel like a lot of those guys, especially with the grappling, because with striking, if you just go at someone hard and aggressive, you can make up a lot for experience.
For sure.
But with grappling, you go at someone hard and aggressive and you will throw yourself into a submission. It's a really wild way. You have to almost completely change your way of thinking when it comes to being aggressive when you get on the ground. Mm-hmm. So that's something that they're going to have to keep working on, because you do see it a lot with those MMA Academy guys who are coming in from areas where they don't have like a huge grappling scene like we have in America and in Europe even, or not Europe, but in the UK and stuff. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, in Europe and like fucking
same but
Kazakhstan and all that shit. Like they see a lot, and in those parts of the world you don't see as much. So there's like a big learning curve. But man, their tenacity is definitely going to get them far.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at people like Juliana Pena, who what she lacked in technique, even though she's closing those gaps, what she lacked in technique, she would make up for with that. And I mean, a number of other fighters, she's just the person that popped into my head immediately.
Yeah, I remember her on Tough. I was just like, whoa. Like,
but it got her to the championship.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's that kind of mentality. It's that kind of ferocity and intent behind your strikes and your positions. Just having that fighting spirit can take you a long way. And it can take somebody who is more technically sound out of their element and out of their fight and make them start doubting themselves. And then you can, it's a snowball effect. You can absolutely capitalize on those positions where maybe on paper the matchup seems a lot more lopsided than it is.
Yeah, for sure.
For those guys at the MMA Academy, I think they're in a great spot. They've committed to bettering themselves and come into a place where they get the grappling looks, they get the striking looks, they get the great MMA work and conditioning that they wouldn't have otherwise had. So I think it's great that they're moving, and I think it's a really challenging place inside the UFC octagon to learn on the job like that. It's very unforgiving, but you find out very fast what you need to work on. It's just, if you can learn fast enough without, compromising your position in the organization.
Yeah.
Because there's, people coming up left and right that are, willing to step in and take your spot. So it's a really challenging position to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. I was in it, and they're like, bye.
We'll see in a little bit.
Yeah. We'll see it when you get more than 2 fights. But, if anything, it makes you such a better fighter so much quicker than if you were on a regional scene. Like, a lot of those guys are coming from their regional scene where they were just destroying everyone. And then they get to the international scene and you're a small fish in a big pond again. So you just got to work on filling those gaps and making sure you're dangerous everywhere and making sure you're just aware everywhere where you might not have thought you're in danger before, because last time you were able to punch out of an arm bar, like you didn't get that correction in the fight. So you're going to continue to make those mistakes until someone corrects you. And that's what happened. But yeah, what a sweetheart the guy was in his little post-fight speech. I actually felt really happy for him that he was able to get that armbar after getting knocked out twice. Finally getting his first win in the UFC. It was kind of like a feel-good moment, even though I met Jetka before and want the best for him. But yeah, he was a sweetheart trying to jump into Bisping's arms and getting denied. It was cute.
Oh, I felt so bad.
It was so cute, though.
It made an even cuter moment to me.
Yeah, exactly.
It was very cheeky.
It's like, you're too big. He did it. Get your ass down. And he committed to it, too. He, jumped all the way up and then, almost hit the floor. He really expected Bisping to grab him. Maybe they talked about it beforehand and Bisping forgot.
Next time you just got to jump on Bisping's back. Don't give him the option.
There you go. Or do the plank hold that Demopoulus did that one time. She just jumped up and held with her core. I tell you, man, strippers are strong.
They are.
Well, let's talk about some of those other fights on our exclusive member content that will be available to the rest of you guys on Monday. We got called out for not talking about all the fights on our last show.
But we did.
It was just in the bonus content.
Just weren't in the right place.
So if you want to get that content now, make sure to hit join on our little member tab and become a member. It's only $1.99.
You'll forget about it. Cheaper than a cup of coffee.
Yeah, cheaper than any other subscription you have. Not cheaper than my OnlyFans. Which is free. Both of ours is. But you get more fun stuff here too. So make sure to hit that member thing, support the podcast, and we'll be back in just a few seconds for all you guys who are cool.